Welcome back, guys, to the Andrew Delich podcast. Another reality check. This one's for the ages. Reality check number 22. Let's fucking get it. Let's not waste time. Let's get right into it. Okay, so guys, first topic for this reality check. I saw on Facebook, I saw someone write something, and I found it kind of interesting. So I was like, hey, let me address it on my podcast. It's really interesting. It's thought-provoking. And I was like, hey, let's talk about it. So the guy said, schools should be guarded like banks because kids are more important than money. So let me say why I agree 50-50. Yes, kids are more important than money. Like, there's no debate there. Kids are way, 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 way more important than money. Way more important. Like, it's not even close. There's no debate about it. Like, you can't debate it. Kids are way more important than money. But the thing is, the reason why you cannot guard schools as well as you guard banks or employ as much security or guards is because more people are tempted to try to rob banks than to go and do a school shooting. Way more people are tempted to rob a bank, right? Like if somehow someone would tell me, Andre, if you were to rob a bank and no one would catch you, you would never get caught, no one would ever know it was you, I would rob the bank. I wouldn't care. I'm stealing money from a bank, probably has billions of dollars. I'm stealing like, what, $300,000? I wouldn't give a fuck. But if someone told me, Andre, if I give you a gun and you go shoot a school and no one's going to ever know it's you, whatever, I still couldn't, I couldn't do it because that's fucking psychopathic. That's sadistic. I couldn't do it. But robbing $300,000 from a bank who has like billions of dollars, I'd be like, as long as someone can assure me 100% that I'm not going to get caught or whatever, I wouldn't really give a fuck. To be honest, I wouldn't care. But I could never, ever, never in my life, not in a million years, could I take a gun and go school a shoot up. Go shoot a school up. I could never do that. Go shoot up a school, shoot a school up, shoot up a school. Whatever it is, I could never shoot up a school. Even if someone gave me money, I could never do it. It's too sadistic. It's too crazy. So that's why, like, yes, regarding this quote, kids are more important than money, like 100 times more important than money. But there's way more people who have the same mentality as I do, that they would easily and whenever they would rob a bank if they were assured that they would never get caught and they would never do time in jail. But like, bro, only real psychopaths and mentally deranged people, really fucked up people, can go and shoot a school and shoot up a school. Jesus Christ, and shoot up a school. So that's why I'm like I understand kids are more important, yes, but those are my thoughts. So guys, recently on Twitter, Donald Trump simply said, and I'm quoting him, he said, if you burn a flag, you get 1 year in jail. Now, it's not a law, like it's not written on paper, it's not black on white, it's not a law. But he was talking about it with someone like, if that was actually a law that if you burn an American flag, you get up to 1 year in jail, the flag burnings would stop. Now, again, I'm 50-50. Why? Because that's part of freedom of speech. As much as I hate seeing people burn the Canadian flag or burn the American flag, especially when I see immigrants immigrating to a country in the Western world and then burning that flag on that country's soil, as much as I fucking hate it, as much as I fucking despise it, and as much as I fucking despise those people who do it, it's still freedom of speech. I hate to say it, it's freedom of speech. I have to be fair, unbiased. It is freedom of speech. But if somehow I was a dictator, that would be a law. I would put that law into place. But since these are democratic countries, they're always going to be democratic countries. It's never going to happen. And at the end of the day, if I'm being rational and unbiased, that should be, I hate to say it, but it should remain a right that citizens have to burn down a flag during a protest or for demonstrations or whatever, to send a message or whatever. But as much as I hate to say it, guys, you guys know me, I hate to say it, they have the right to do it, man, and they should always have the right to do it. So guys, my thoughts on abortion. So when it comes to abortion, in my opinion, woman, it's woman's body, so meaning it's their choice. I know some guys that get offended. Oh, but it's still my baby. I should still have my baby fetus. I'm not sure. I'm not a doctor, but I know it's a fetus. So I'm not 100% sure how it works and at what stage, whatever. But like it or not, it is her body, so it should be her choice. It's a fact. I mean, it is what it is. Even though if I was to accidentally impregnate a girl after a one-night stand or whatever, and even if I would want for her to do an abortion, and if she doesn't want to, I don't really have a say, man. It's her body, her choice. That's why, and even if the roles were reversed, imagine if it would have been guys. We're the same. So guys and women are the same when it comes to mentality and everything. But the guys are the ones who are getting pregnant. Believe me, that law would have existed since the beginning of time, and it would have never been up for debate if abortion should be legal or illegal, if guys were the ones who would get pregnant. If guys were the ones to get pregnant, that law would exist immediately. It would never be debated. It would never be brought up for questioning or for argumentation. It would be a law set in stone, believe me. So let's not be dumb. We know that it is how it is. And since guys aren't the ones who are getting pregnant and women are the ones who are getting pregnant, that's why some places on planet Earth and some states in the United States of America, abortion is illegal. It's because guys are the ones deciding, whilst it should be the women who decide if they want to keep the baby or not keep the baby. Because at the end of the day, she's the one carrying the baby for 9 months. The baby is inside of her. It's her body and it's her choice, man. You guys know I'm not a wokey. You guys know I'm not a libtard or whatever, but I'm in the middle. I'm fair. I'm in the middle. I'm unbiased for both sides, and I'm fair and logical for both sides. And when it comes to abortion and having the right, and women having the right to go through abortions, I'm on the woman's side because it is the fairer side, is the most fair option, is the fairer option, and it is what it is, guys. I mean, it's just biological, it's natural, it is how it is. Okay, so guys, now this message will be to extremist Muslims. So I have many Muslim friends. I love them. I grew up with them, and I fucking love them, and I respect the shit out of my Muslim friends. I do. But this message is for Muslims who are extremists. So the Muslims who come here and want to bring the Sharia law to Canada. I'm going to speak to them. First of all, it's never going to fucking happen. Forget your Sharia law. That's the worst fucking law. It's never going to fucking happen. This is Canada. Sharia law, you can take that, you can put it in the fucking garbage. Or if you want to live in a country where Sharia law does exist, then go to that country. Canada is not that country. Canada is not one of those countries. Saudi Arabia, Afghanistan, Iran, I'm not sure which countries exactly, but those countries, I'm sure, go live there if you want to live under Sharia law. But for Canada, Sharia law will never, ever, ever happen. It will never be in place, and it will never exist in Canada. And like I said, I have many Muslim friends, and this is nothing against them, because my friends who are Muslims, they're not extremists. They're not, just like 95% of Muslims aren't extremists, just as much as 95% of Christians, maybe 99% of Christians aren't extremists. And also, one of the reasons why I only talk to Muslims when it comes to imposing religion into politics is because, if we're being honest, Christians nowadays in 2025 aren't looking to impose Christianity into politics in the Western world. But some Muslims, not all Muslims, like I said, 95% of Muslims are rational, are good-hearted, and are normal human beings. But there is a 5%, maybe it's 2%, maybe it's 3%, who are extremists and who want to impose their religion into Canadian politics, American politics, Western politics. And to them, I'm saying, the Western world, and Canada more specifically, because this is where I'm from and where I'm living and where I'm born, will always, always be a secular country, meaning politics and religion have nothing to do with one another. Two completely different things. That's what Canada is, and that's what the Western world is, and what the Western world stands for. That's just how it is. So guys, to those extremists Muslims listening to this, you can go fuck yourselves, because it's never going to fucking happen. And I'm not saying this out of hate. Like, I don't have hate for anyone. I love everyone equally. I think that all human beings, we're all equal. We're all the same. And it is how it is. But guys, Sharia law will never, ever, ever exist in Canada and in the Western world. Never, ever. I don't give a fuck. I see many videos. Like I said, 95% of Muslims are really good people, really good-hearted people, and normal people, just like Christians or like Jews or like Hindus or like or like Buddhists or like spiritual people or like Native Americans, whatever. But for that little minority who are extremists, for all religions, all of you guys need to change your way of life, need to change your way of thinking and your mentality, because guys, we aren't in the 1600s anymore. This is 2025. 2025 meaning secularism, secular country, politics, religion, two completely different things. It is how it is. I just had to say it because I saw many videos on social media where, of course, on social media, it's mostly in the extremes. You either see the extreme right or the extreme left on social media, and that's what gets more likes, more views, more whatever, because it's in the extremes, right? So, of course, on social media, I'm going to see more extremists, but I saw many videos of Muslims, extremists, talking about one day Canada will have a Muslim majority country, will have the Sharia law, and all this bullshit. That will never happen. The Sharia law will never, ever exist in Canada or the Western world. So that's why I feel the need to express this on my podcast. Not because I hate Muslims. I don't. I have nothing against Muslims. Like I said, I have many friends who are Muslims and I fucking love them and I respect them a lot. But I hate extremists. And that's not only for Muslim extremists, but extremists in general. Christian extremists, Jewish extremists, Muslim extremists, Buddhist extremists, Hinduism extremists, nationalist extremists, whatever. If you're an extremist, I don't respect you and I don't love you. I'm never going to preach in your favor, no matter what the reason is. White supremacy, extremists, I don't respect that. I don't love them. I don't respect them. Black supremacists, I don't respect them because they're extremists. But like I said, in general, 95% of the population are normal human beings who just want to get along with everyone and who want for everyone to live in peace and to have a beautiful life in a beautiful country. That's how I feel like 90 to 95% of human beings, no matter their race, their skin color, their religion, their political affiliations, their social background, whatever. I feel like in general, we're all really good people. But the 5% who are fucked up, who are extremists, who want to see the world burn, they're the ones causing all this chaos and all these problems. Okay, so guys, next topic. My thoughts on multiculturalism and why only the Western world needs more multiculturalism. Okay, so guys, before I was all for multiculturalism, but recently, nowadays, I'm not sure if multiculturalism will work as well as we think it will. I'm not sure that. I feel like there has to be the dominant culture has to be the culture in the country we are in. So Canada, then the dominant culture is Canadian. Then we can have subcultures. And also one thing that's always been on my mind is why do only Western countries need more multiculturalism, right? Like you never see someone say, oh, China needs more white people. Oh, China needs more black people. Oh, China needs to represent more people. Or you never hear, oh, Russia needs to represent more different, ethnically different people. Only the Western world do we put some kind of unjustified pressure on them to be more multicultural. I don't know where that came from. I feel like that's unfair because, first of all, the Western world is the most multicultural place in the world. Like, there's no other country on planet Earth where there's so many mixes of races, of religions, of social backgrounds, and whatever, than in the Western world. And even to this day, the left woke are still trying to push more and more multiculturalism in the Western part of the world. It's not fair. Like Joe Rogan once said on his podcast, he said, when China wants to be all China and pro-Chinese and China first and just Chinese people, everyone praises it and no one cares. But when Poland decides to be all white, all Polish, all Christian, and just all Polish in general, then everyone fucking loses their mind. That's not fair, guys. If we're being rational and unbiased and we leave emotions to the side, we put our emotions to the side, that's not fair, right? Only white people get guilted into them being bigots if they don't want multiculturalism in their countries. But when other races or other ethnicities want to preserve who they are, their culture and their identity, they get praised. But when white Christians, white Europeans try to do it, they get bashed on. Guys, again, if we're being unbiased, if we're being rational, and if we put our emotions to the side, that's unfair. It's unfair, guys. It's just the fucking truth. Okay, so guys, next topic. Okay, so in my opinion, on social media nowadays, and just in general, especially social media, I see a lot of people hating Jews and being anti-Semites. And if I'm being honest, I think that the only reason why people who aren't Jews hate on Jews is because they're jealous of Jews and they envy the Jewish people and the Jewish community. Because if we're being honest, Jewish people are really fucking smart. They make a lot of innovations. In general, they're really rich. They make a lot of money and they're really successful. And they don't cause a lot of chaos on planet Earth. They're just defending themselves. So whenever I see people bashing Jews, Israelis or whatever, I feel like it's only because of jealousy and out of envy. There's no other reason. Maybe in their minds, they feel like they made irrational reasoning to why it is okay and logical for them to hate on Jews. But again, all their rational reasoning, first of all, isn't rational. It's all made up with emotions. If they were to put their emotions to the side and just use their rational mind and their rational reasoning, they would understand that the only reason that people are hating on Jews is because they're jealous and envious of the Jewish people and the Jewish community. That's a fact. I mean, they're very successful. There are only like 15 million Jews on planet Earth for a population of 8 billion people on planet Earth. There are only 15 million and they have so much money. They're so successful. They created so many things. They made so many inventions. They made a lot of innovation for the world, a lot of technological advances, innovations, a lot of medical innovations, advances. They're just doing a lot for the world and they're only 15%, 15 million out of 8 billion people on planet Earth, man. It's crazy. Okay, so recently Candace Owens, who's like a podcaster, a public figure, she talks a lot about politics, religion, social things, social scientists, psychology, sociology, whatever. But she's mostly a political commentator. And recently she had a lot of beef with Brigitte Macron. I'm not sure why. Maybe I can chat GPT why she had a lot of why she has a lot of beef with Brigitte Macron. Why does Candace Owens have a lot of beef with Brigitte Macron? Because whenever I see her clips or her podcast episodes, she's always beefing with Brigitte Macron. And be illegal or born in such a high stake feud. Launched an 8-part podcast. Candace Owens launched an 8-part podcast series titled Becoming Brigitte in 2025, promoting a baseless conspiracy theory claiming that France's First Lady Brigitte Macron was actually born male under the name Jean-Michel Trogner, her brother's name, and had transitioned to become Brigitte. She further tossed in wild accusations like incest, CIA mind control, and fraud to amplify the narrative. These claims are completely false, of course they are, and have been widely debunked, viewed by many as purposefully transphobic and defamatory. So guys, that's what I wanted to say. She said once on her podcast that Brigitte Macron was actually born a man. And she said, I'm quoting her word for word, I would stake my entire professional reputation on the fact that Brigitte Macron is in fact born a man. Candace Owens, I mean, she's smart for some things. I didn't watch many of her podcasts or everything she said, but sometimes I would see clips of her and she's smart. I can say it how it is. She is smart. But sometimes she throws out like these crazy conspiracy theories, just like the fact that she said that Brigitte Macron was born a man. I mean, guys, it's fucking false. Of course it's false. I understand maybe she hates Brigitte Macron because she's a liberal and Candace Owens is more right-leaning and conservative-leaning. And that's why she hates Brigitte Macron. But I mean, guys, Brigitte Macron is not a man. She's not born a man. That was purely dumb talk, stupid talk. But that's the only thing I wanted to address regarding Candace Owens. Even though, like I said, I saw many of her clips. She is smart, and some of the things that she does say regarding politics in the world, some of the things I do agree with, some of the things I disagree, because she is a bit she's not far right, but she is a bit more right leaning, and I tend to be more like in the middle. So some things I do agree on from the liberal sides on the left side, and some things I do agree with more on the right side and the conservative side. But this is just, I mean, this quote, I would stake my entire professional reputation on the fact that Brigitte Macron is in fact born a man. That's just crazy talk. I mean, she fetched it far. And this, I feel like Candace Owens should have been maybe a bit more professional, because I feel like this is a bit of a personal attack towards Brigitte Macron. Because let's say Candace Owens disagrees politically on something that Brigitte Macron said. Fine, you state what you think is true. You state your argument and your cause, and then that's it. But when you start personally attacking someone, that's when I'm against it. Because she did, by saying this, she's in a way personally attacking Brigitte Macron, because even she knows deep down that Brigitte Macron wasn't born a man. Like we all know. And even, let's say, even if Brigitte Macron was born a man and she transitioned to being a female, I mean, who cares, right? That's her own personal life. She can do all the surgeries she wants. She can become a female. I mean, are they females? I don't know. That's another debate. But it's her personal life. She can do whatever she wants, right? So even if it was true, but it's not true, but even if it was true, who cares? If you guys are talking about politics and you guys are talking about a specific topic that you guys disagree on, then the logical thing to do, the democratic thing to do is you state your argument, she states her arguments, and then at the end, the population will decide who's right and who's wrong. The people will decide, and then, I mean, that it is what it is. Candace Owens, she's a public figure. She's a influencer, quote unquote. So at the end of the day, for her, it's all about clicks, and it's all about follows, and it's all about shares and whatever, because she's a social media influencer, like it or not. She's a podcaster. So she is what she is. She isn't running for office or whatever. So at the end of the day, but she is a political commentator. So if she disagrees on something that Brigitte Macron stands for or that she agrees on, you just state your arguments, and then you let the people decide if you're wrong or if you're right. And just because someone thinks you're wrong doesn't mean you're wrong. And just because someone thinks you're right doesn't mean you're right. It's all about perception, especially when it comes to politics. And when it's not like, 2 + 2 = 4. So politics, there's like many different opinions. And I mean, no one's right or wrong, quote unquote, in general. So, I mean, it is what it is. But I feel like this was a bit of a personal attack. When it comes to arguing with other people, if someone starts personally attacking the other person, I feel like it's because deep down that person feels like he or she is losing that argument, and then she's all emotional and she just wants to personally attack the other person. So that's why I'm like, I feel like this was a little bit like a childish thing to do from Candace Owens, if I'm being honest. Okay, so guys, if someone hates on you for no specific reason, they just feel like hating on you, and then you question yourself, why is he hating on me? Why is he or she hating on me? In general, if someone hates on you, it's because that person is jealous of you and envies you. Maybe she feels like you're doing better, that you're doing better in life than he or she is, and she's just jealous, so of course she'll try to bring you down. That's normal human nature. I mean, to be a good person, you got to understand that we don't do those sort of things. And when someone does try to bring you down, I know like you're tempted to tell them to go fuck themselves, or to attack them, or to refute to them and back in general. But the smartest thing to do is just ignore them, go on with your life, focus on your goals and your dreams, and just keep doing you. I feel like that's the smartest thing to do. Now, of course, I don't always practice what I preach, but I always try to practice what I preach. I mean, I'm human. I'm a human being. I'm not perfect, but I understand that the best thing to do when someone hates on you is ignore them and just go on with your life. keep doing your things, keep chasing your dreams, keep chasing your goals, and that's when you're going to be the happiest and live the most fulfilling life that you can live. Because if someone hates on you and then he starts personally attacking you, and then if you personally attack him back, then it's just like a vicious cycle that never ends. And at the end of the day, no one wins. He personally attacked you. You personally attacked him. He now hates you. You now hate him. You don't. And when you insult someone back, you don't feel better. Like, right? I did it many times. When someone insulted me, I insulted them back, thinking that I would feel better, but I actually don't. We all know when you insult him back, you're like, fuck, maybe I shouldn't have said it. Maybe I should have just ignored him. But sometimes we're all in our emotions and we get all emotional and we just want to bite back. So we start insulting them back. But if you can keep a calm mind and stay rational and stoic, you're going to understand that and realize that the best answer to hate or people bringing you down is just no answer and just ignoring them. You keep your energy. You don't waste your energy on other people. And then you just focus on your life, on your goals and your dreams. Like I said, I don't always practice what I preach. I try to be the best version that I can. But if I'm being rational and stoic right now, that's the best way to deal with hate from other people or to deal with degrading comments made from other people directed towards you. That's the best way to act. Okay, so guys, my thoughts on white guilt. Okay, so guys, I said it many times. This is why I disagree, and this is why I think that a white guilt is a stupid mentality to have. Because, okay, yes, in America in the 1700s, white people had slaves. That's a fact. It's a historical fact. And some white people right now in America in 2025, some of their ancestors had slaves. That's a fact. If you're a white person in America in the 1700s and you had a plantation or a big farm or whatever, high chances are you had slaves, which is just normal for that time. But of course, those people who had slaves, they made kids and kids, generations. 2025, those same generations still exist and those family members still exist. They have nothing to do with what their previous ancestors did owning slaves. Like, imagine someone told me right now, I mean, that's not my case because my ancestors are from Serbia, and Serbia was always a broke-ass country. No one had slaves over there. Believe me, not only did no one have slaves in Serbia, Serbians were slaves, okay? So believe me, no one had slaves in Serbia. But if somehow someone was telling me, oh, you know what, Andre? Actually, your ancestors aren't from Serbia. They're from America, from Mississippi. And one of your great-great-great-great-great-grandfathers had slaves. I wouldn't care. If I'm being honest, why would I care? I didn't do it. I didn't have slaves. I didn't own slaves. Yes, my great-great-great-great-great-grandfather had some, but I didn't, so I don't care. I didn't do nothing wrong. If someone, I don't even want to go as far as to say my great-great-great-great-great-grandfather. Let's say someone comes and sees me and says, oh, you know what? Your dad just killed someone. You should go to jail. I didn't kill that person. Yes, that's my dad. He created me. I'm his descendants, but I didn't kill that person. I'm not guilty. Why should I feel guilty for something that I didn't do? Since the day I'm born, 2000, till now, I didn't do it. I don't give a fuck what other people did. Yes, that's my dad, but he's his own person and I'm my own person. And that's my dad. Like, he's the closest generation to me that there is. Like, forget about my great-great-great-great-great-grandfather. That's my dad, right? Even then, I mean, I would care because my dad's going to go to jail or whatever, but I wouldn't feel guilty for what he did. I didn't fucking do it. I didn't do it with my hands, bro. So I wouldn't feel guilty. Same goes for white guilt. Why should white people in America or in Canada or just white people in general, why do you guys, and I'm talking to white people who do have white guilt, why do you have guilt for something you didn't do? Now, of course, if you did something racist or if you did something stupid or illegal, then you should feel guilty. But if you didn't do anything racist or if you didn't do anything like killing someone, robbing from someone, stealing, whatever, you shouldn't feel guilty for something you didn't do. Even if someone in your family did it, even if my brother tomorrow decides to rob a bank, I wouldn't feel guilty. I mean, I would care because he's going to go to jail and he's going to have a shitty life, but I wouldn't feel guilty for the act that he did, because he did it. I didn't do it. Same goes for white guilt. So that's why I don't understand why some people have white guilt. If you didn't do a certain action, you shouldn't have guilt for it. And not only for white guilt, for everything in general. If you didn't do an action, you shouldn't have guilt for it. You didn't do the action. I don't care if that's your family member, if that's your girlfriend, if that's your boyfriend, if that's your uncle, your best friend, your teacher, I don't know what. If you didn't do the act, if you didn't do the action, you shouldn't have guilt, because you don't have power. You shouldn't have guilt over things you cannot control, over things you don't have power. Like I said, I'm going to end it there because I pretty much said everything I had to say regarding white guilt and just having guilt in general for things you didn't do. Okay, next topic. Okay, so my thoughts on Palestinian protesters still protesting in Canada. Now, I mean, if you guys have fun and you guys feel like somehow that regroups you together and that gives you a goal in life, I mean, do it. But if I'm being rational right now, I mean, you guys have been protesting for the past 2-3 years, and you're protesting in Canada. Like, what's happening in Palestine, it's happening in Palestine and in Israel. And it's really sad what's happening. Just seeing kids dying, civilians dying on both sides. It's really sad. Like, wherever we are, not only Israel or Palestine, just all the civil wars that are happening in Africa, seeing little kids dying, seeing innocent civilians dying, that's always sad. No matter what their skin color, their religion, political affiliation, no matter who they are, it's always sad to see innocent civilians dying, and especially little kids. It's always really sad. But like, rationally thinking about it, you guys are just wasting time still protesting in Ottawa for what's happening in Palestine. I mean, you can do it. I mean, this is a democratic country. You have the right to protest just as long as it's peaceful and done democratically and legally. So meaning peacefully, no violence, and just being done fully legally. I don't care. I mean, whenever I see Palestinian protesters, I don't give a fuck. Believe me, maybe you guys saw the video of me and my dad, but first of all, you have no context on what actually happened. You just saw like a 15-second clip, which you guys can interpret in any way you want, but you guys have no idea what actually happened. It had nothing to do with the protest, whatever. It was more specifically what happened with specifically those group of people, those 10, 12 people. So you guys have no context. But to get back to my main argument, I don't care. But if I'm being rational, I mean, you guys are just wasting time. Even recently, I spoke with a cop from Ottawa who does a lot of like patrolling and security for whenever there are protesters for Palestine or Ukraine, or not making Canada a 51st state or whatever. And then we were talking about protests, and he told me specifically that even he feels like the Palestinian protesters are just wasting time and they're being delusional. And I agree. I feel like, I mean, you guys have been protesting for 2 years. And believe me, if we're being honest, Israel and America, Canada cannot influence Israel and America. Israel are really powerful on their own terms as their own entity and their own country. And they have a really, really, really strong relationship with America, which is by far the powerhouse of the world. Is the strongest country by far, with the most resources, the most money, the biggest army, everything. They're the most powerful country on planet Earth. And Israel and America have the strongest friendship on planet Earth. So believe me, Canada has no influence over what's happening in Israel and Palestine. They have zero say. They have no influence. Zero. So of course, now I'm not debating regarding what's happening in Palestine and Israel. I don't care. I don't live there. I wish them all the best. I wish that kids and innocent civilians stop dying. That's really, really sad to see. But if I'm being rational, whenever you guys protest in the streets of Ottawa, you aren't really doing anything. You aren't doing anything concrete. If that makes you guys feel better, like you feel like you did something and you feel like you're helping the cause, and somehow that gives you mental clarity and mental sanity and you just feel better mentally, I mean, hey, I guess do it. I don't know. I mean, we all have our ways to cope with stress and to cope with whatever. Do it. But if I'm being rational right now and unbiased, it isn't really doing anything. I would understand doing it the first 6 months that when the war started, just to bring awareness and for people to understand that there's a war going on in the Middle East. But I mean, after that, if I'm being honest, Canadians just find you guys a bit annoying because when we go downtown, we try to have a walk and have a coffee and just have a normal Sunday, let's say. And then we see you guys walking around and you guys are loud, like you're making a lot of noise. You guys aren't protesting. Maybe it is peacefully, like probably it is peacefully. Maybe there's some cases where it wasn't peaceful. And that happened for many protests, if I'm being fair. But you guys are just disturbing the silence for everyone. Like we see you out there screaming with your microphones and whatever. Like I said, I don't care. I just find it funny because I know deep down you guys aren't changing anything. Like if you guys want to change something, like I know war is disgusting, but at the end of the day, let's be rational. If you want to change, pick up a AK-47 and go protect Palestine, I guess. I mean, if you want change, go and do that. But protesting in the streets of Ottawa, it won't change shit, man. Okay, so guys, my thoughts on Charlie Kirk saying. For guys who don't know who Charlie Kirk is, he's the founder of Turning Point USA. He's a political commentator. He's close friends with Candace Owens. And he's a conservative. He's a Republican. He's right-leaning. And recently, he has a podcast also. I mean, like all political commentators have a podcast, right? Because they speak a lot and they talk. They say their arguments and their point of views. And recently he said, and I'm quoting him right now, the spiritual battle is coming to the West. And the enemies are wokeism or Marxism combining with Islamism to go after what we call the American way of life. I agree 100%. Now, Charlie Kirk, he's really smart. I don't agree with everything he said because I think once he said that he feels like abortions should be illegal. And I feel like abortion should be legal because it's the woman's choice. It's her body, her choice. So I don't agree everything he says. But for this specific quote that I just said, I agree 100%. I feel like wokeism is trying to kill what we know as the modern American way of life, the American dream, and what democracy and what the Western world actually stands for. Freedom of speech, meritocracy, liberty of expression, and everything that comes with democracy. I feel like wokeism, maybe not trying to kill it in general, but far extremists, wokeists, are trying to destroy that. And then he said combining with Islamism. Like I said, I have many friends who are Muslims. 95% of Muslims aren't extremists, they're just normal human beings. But for those who are extremists and who are trying to impose religion into politics, that's where it fucks up. Because if we're being honest, the Western world and the West is primarily founded on Christian values and democratic values, way of life. Now, if we're being honest, Islam's values doesn't go really well with the Western values. They're different values. I'm not saying one values are better than the others. No. Okay, maybe I can say it. I mean, in my opinion, the Western world is the best part of the world, is the most advanced part of the world, in my opinion. I mean, hey, my parents are from Eastern Europe, from the eastern part of the world, and I'm not afraid to say it. The Western part of the world is the most advanced part of the world. They're the most developed and the most advanced in all terms. Maybe China's a bit more technologically advanced nowadays with AI and everything, but when it comes to humanities, when it comes to democracy, the Western part of the world is the most advanced. And Islamism in general, with the Western part of the world, they don't have the same values. So that's why it doesn't mix very well together. It's a fact. It is a fact. Now, if someone prefers Muslim values, there's nothing wrong there. That's your life. That's your opinion. But maybe it's better for you to go live in a country where they share, where the majority of groups of people share the same values as you do and the same mentality as you do. Because in America, in the Western part of the world, so Canada, America, and Western Europe, values from those countries which are founded and based on Christian values. It's a fact. Europe was always a Christian continent. It was founded on Christian values. All of European countries were founded on Christian values. Same goes for North America and even Latin America. It's all founded on Christian values. Christian values and Muslim values are different. It's just how it is. They're different. It's a different way of life. It's a different way of seeing life, and it is what it is. So that's why Charlie Kirk said that the greatest enemy of the West right now is wokeism mixing with Islamism, and that's why I agree 100%. Because what the Western world stands for, democracy, freedom of speech, women having all the rights that men do, no matter what your skin color is, political affiliations, religion, whatever, we're all the same. We all have the same rights. Every human being is equal. No matter who you are, you have the right to say what you think. You have the right to express yourself. Those are all Western values, which isn't really what Sharia law values and what some parts of the Muslim world values. Freedom of speech, women having the same rights as men, and many other things. So that's why those two, they don't see eye to eye, and then they don't combine well, because it's just two completely different things. Two completely different values. Jesus Christ, man, I've been talking, 41 minutes. Two completely different values. It is what it is, guys. So that's why I don't hate Muslims. Like I said, I have many friends who are Muslims, and I love them and I respect them a lot. But it's different values, man. Okay, so my thoughts on white privilege. So, of course, being white in a majoritarily white country, you have more privileges than someone who isn't white in the globality of things. But that's just a majority thing. So let's say if I was to live in an all-black country or a majoritarily black country, I wouldn't have white privilege anymore, because that country doesn't have a white majority. It has a black majority. So then you would have more privilege being black than being white if you live in a black majority country. But in the Western world, since it's a white majority, of course you have more white privilege, quote unquote. Not a lot, a little bit in my opinion. But again, white privilege isn't the only privilege that exists. How about pretty privilege? Women who are way hotter than other women have way more privilege, like way more privilege. Believe me, I saw really beautiful women working at nightclubs. I saw a really beautiful woman skipping the line, not paying to get in, not paying for a single drink. All the guys paying for the drinks, getting inside the DJ booth, getting in the VIP section, and they're no ones. They're just really fucking hot. They're nobodies. They're just really fucking hot. And many other things. And that's just from working in the bar. I saw how pretty privilege works for beautiful women. So that's a big privilege right there. Let's talk about that privilege. Let's talk about people being born rich. That's a huge privilege. And you didn't deserve to be born rich. You're just born rich out of luck. Just like being born white in a majoritarily white country. You don't deserve to be white. You're just born white in a country that has a white majority. So it's the same concept. Let's say Bronny James, right? He's black. His dad's LeBron James. I'm white. My dad is Zach Delich. Huge difference, guys. Huge fucking difference. I mean, yes, he's black, I'm white, but at the end of the day, Bronny James has way more privileges in life, and he is way more privileged in life than I am, even though he's black and even though I'm white. And he's not more privileged because he worked harder than me, or because he was more disciplined, or because he deserves it. It's simply because he came out of the balls of LeBron James, his dad. That's the only reason why he has more privilege than me. Even though he's black, even though I'm white, he's still more privileged than me. Because there's not only white privilege, there's many other privileges. Being born into a wealthy family, into a rich family, is a big fucking privilege. And in my opinion, is a way bigger privilege than being born white. Being a woman, guys also, but in general, being a woman and being born really hot is a way bigger privilege than simply being born white. It's a way bigger privilege. Being born with a high IQ, you're born with a high IQ. Now, of course, anyone and everyone can get educated and smart and get book smart. But to have a high IQ, you're born. You're born with a high IQ. Someone born with a high IQ against someone who's born with a low IQ, the person born with a high IQ will be way more privileged in life than the person born with a low IQ. And the guy who's born with a high IQ, he didn't deserve it. He's just born like that. He's just quote unquote lucky. It is what it is. And being born with a high IQ, in my opinion, is a bigger privilege than being born white. So of course, white privilege does exist in the Western world. I agree, it's a fact. But so does black privilege exist in a majoritarily black country. Just the only thing is, in countries which the majority is black, white people don't live there. There's only black people living there. Let's keep it honest. There's no multiculturalism there. There's only one culture, black people. And even though in some countries in Africa, there's many tribes. And if you're born in a specific tribe, you're going to be more privileged than someone who's born in a different tribe, just because your tribe is more powerful and there's more people in that tribe, and just because that tribe is richer and more powerful. So even then, it's not black privilege because you guys are all black, but it's tribe privilege. I guess we can call it like that. And you're born in that tribe. You didn't deserve to be in that tribe. You were just simply born in that tribe. So even in countries where there isn't a white majority, where it's an Asian majority like China, or a black majority like African countries, or a brown majority like in India, even then you have privileges regarding not skin tone, because they're all the same skin color over there, because like I said, there's no multiculturalism over there. It's all one race. But even then, amongst different tribes and different families, you have privilege just because you're born into one family or you're born into one tribe. Same goes for India. In India, it's like it works with classes. And I mean, of course, there's no white people or black people or Arab people or whatever. It's all brown Indians. But some people are born in different classes. And if you're born in a specific class, you're automatically more privileged and you automatically have a higher status than someone who's born into a different class. I'm not sure how they call it, but a different class or whatever. So even in those countries, that exists. And in my opinion, it exists. It's way more pronounced in those countries than in the Western world. Yes, white privilege exists in the Western world, but it's not as big and it's not as prominent as it is in other countries like Africa when it comes to tribes, India when it comes to tribes, Chinese people when it comes to being born in a family who is richer than another. So just to sum it all up, white countries, Western countries are in general the fairest countries in the world. If we put the whole totality and the whole globality of things and we put everything into perspective, the Western world is the fairest place on planet Earth and is the most democratic place on planet Earth. That's why everyone wants to immigrate to the Western world, and no one from the Western world wants to immigrate in the eastern part of the world, or in Africa, or in Arab countries, or in Asian countries, or in South America. Of course, there are some specific cases where, let's say, someone from Canada found an amazing job in South Africa where he's going to get paid 10 times more than what he was paid in Canada. Then, of course, that specific person and his family members will relocate to, let's say, South Africa. But in general, you don't see a wave of Canadian immigrants going to live in South Africa. It doesn't happen. Why? Because in general, the Western part of the world is the best place to live, and that's why everyone wants to live there. That's a fact, right? Okay, so guys, next topic. Okay, so my thoughts on Tucker Carlson. Like I said, Tucker Carlson is also a political commentator, just like Charlie Kirk or Candace Owens. He has his own podcast also. And he used to be a news anchor for Fox News. He's really fucking famous, Tucker Carlson. And he said, and I'm quoting him, "Why are people returning to church? Why is Christianity resurgent? I would say because they found Western materialism fundamentally unsatisfying and they're looking for something more. I no longer think that. I think what you're seeing is a supernatural phenomenon. I think you're seeing the Spirit of God moving among people. So my thoughts regarding this. I'm very religious. I was born religious, and all my life I was religious. I'm really, really fucking religious. I agree more with the first part. I feel like the reason why people are returning to church, and I see this amongst my friends, and just as a sociologist, I see this amongst people of my age group, becoming more Christian and more religious than what the millennials were in general. And I think it's because, like he said in the beginning of his quote, that because they found that Western materialism is fundamentally unsatisfying. That's why I think is the main reason why young people nowadays are becoming more and more Christian and more religious. I don't think that it's a supernatural phenomenon. I mean, yes, I'm religious. I believe in God and everything, but like, I don't believe in supernatural things happening. I don't believe in a supernatural. I don't. And then he said, I think you're seeing the Spirit of God moving among people. Now, of course, depends what you consider to be the Spirit of God. People being nicer, people being more good-hearted, being more compassionate. I see that as the Spirit of God. I don't see literally the Spirit of God moving around people. I mean, like I said, I don't believe in a supernatural. So that's why I'm like 50-50 on this quote from Tucker Carlson. I agree with the first part, that people are returning to church because they found that Western materialism is fundamentally unsatisfying, and they're looking for something more, like morality, enriching your soul, finding your purpose, and not only material goods like money, houses, cars, and whatever, and that you're truly looking for something to fulfill your soul that material goods cannot fulfill. Only being connected and having good relationships and having love in your heart and loving someone, that's what will ultimately satisfy your soul and you as a human being. Okay, so my thoughts on Trump kicking out illegal immigrants with ICE. Okay, so guys, is he really kicking out? I mean, they're there illegally. I'm not against immigrants. My parents are immigrants. These countries they were built, quote unquote, on immigrants, but they were mostly built on settlers. Colonial settlers and immigrants are two different things, right? But let's not get into it. If you came here illegally, I mean, it's kind of logical and normal that they're going to kick you out. I mean, you came here illegally. It's just in America, what's happening before, they had a lot of missing workforce when it came to construction and the restoration business. So they would let illegal immigrants work in those industries because they were lacking labor force in those industries. I don't know if I ever said this on a podcast, but when me and my brother went to Miami for 1 month when it was COVID, because in Canada it was like zone red and everything was fucking shut down, everything was closed, we couldn't do shit. But Florida and Texas had everything open. So me and my brother went to Miami for 1 month. And I worked illegally in America, like or not, even though I'm Canadian, I was working illegally because I'm not allowed to work in America because I'm not an American citizen. And I was working in a restaurant, which was a Serbian restaurant, but it was a restaurant in Miami in America. And I was getting paid, of course, cash under the table. But the reason, and I asked them, everyone working there was from Serbia or from Latin America. And the manager told me that everyone here was working illegally. And I asked him, I was like, Jesus Christ, I was surprised because if only one person or two were illegal, then it's easy to hide, right? But if everyone is illegal, it's like, how the fuck do you guys not get caught? And he told me, all the police officers, everyone, all the lawmakers, everyone knows that people working in restaurants in Miami, New York, the big cities, they're all illegals. But since they're lacking a lot of labor in those industries, like the service industry, restaurants, and the construction industry, they just they keep a blind eye to when things like that happen because they need the labor for it. They need the labor for it. So that's why it is how it is. But right now I see Trump, one of his main, something that he was really, really found really, really important was to kick out all the illegals. I mean, if they're illegal, isn't it a bit logical for them to get kicked out? I mean, he's not kicking out immigrants. He's kicking out illegal immigrants, people who are there illegally and working illegally and living there illegally. So that makes more sense. Now, of course, if Trump would start kicking out legal immigrants who are American citizens, then I would be like, what the fuck is he doing? That's fucking illegal, and that's against the law, and that's not quote unquote normal or human being. But he's kicking out illegals. So that's why I'm like, it makes sense. I mean, right? I mean, the only reason that the presidents before him didn't kick out the illegals is not because they loved the illegal immigrants and they wanted to help the illegal immigrants. It's only because, like I said, there was a lack in the labor force for the service industry, for restaurants, and for the construction sites, for the construction work. They were lacking labor force. So that's why they were like ignoring it, but they knew deep down, but they're like, we need the workforce, so fuck it, let's let them work. But I think Trump, for him, that was really important. So that's why he's like, you know what, fuck it, I'm literally going to kick out all these illegals. My thoughts on reparations for Black people in America. So on social media, I hear many topics. Now, of course, I'm not American, so I care mostly what's happening in Canada because that's where I live. But I see many arguments and I see many people debating between someone saying that Black people nowadays should get reparations for what their ancestors had to do during slavery and for the work that their ancestors did and didn't get paid because they were slaves. And now they want reparations. I hate to say it. They don't deserve reparations, people nowadays. Black people in America, they don't deserve for something their ancestors did. Because you didn't do the work. I don't care if your ancestors did it. Just like when it comes to white guilt, you didn't do the actual action. You didn't do it. Your ancestors did it. Now, if your ancestors were still alive today, if somehow that was possible, then they should get reparations because that's fair, because they put in the work, and when they were putting in the work, they weren't getting paid. So now that since the government knows that they were wrong and that they aren't slaves anymore, they should get reparations. But you specifically, you didn't put in the work. So you shouldn't get paid for something that you didn't do. I don't care if your ancestors did it. I mean, your ancestors, you guys aren't the only group of people who have ancestors who were slaves. Almost all groups of people in a certain time in history were slaves. My ancestors, Serbians, were slaves under the Ottoman Empire. Who's going to pay me? No one's going to pay me because I didn't put in the work, and I don't care. I mean, it's sad to see slaves, but they were the ones who were slaves. So I hate to say it, Black people in America who want reparations, it's not logical. I'm not saying that you guys are dumb, maybe a little bit, wanting to get reparations for something you didn't do, but it's not logical. You want to get paid for something you didn't do? It doesn't make sense, guys. Okay, so guys, next topic. My thoughts on people like Bryce Crawford. He's a podcaster and like a public figure on social media. He's young, he's like 22, 23 years old, but he is really popular. And there was a clip of him saying that gay people aren't going to heaven. He's really, really Christian. He mostly preaches the gospel and he preaches Christianity in his podcast and whatever. Even though I'm very, very Christian. I'm very, very Christian. And I've been born Christian and I've been Christian all my life. But, I mean, I don't go word for word in a book that was written 2,000 years ago. I'm not dumb. I know that humans wrote that book. I'm not dumb. And just because at that time humans said that being gay wasn't right, doesn't mean that that's the truth. And saying that gay people aren't going to heaven, I mean, I don't agree, man. I mean, gay people have existed ever since humanity has existed. The ancient Greeks, many of them were gay or bisexual actually. During the Roman Empire, all the noble people in the Roman Empire were all bisexual. At that time, bisexuality was seen as something that only noble people deserve to be and are. I don't know why it was like that, but bisexuals existed since the beginning of planet Earth and since the beginning of humanity. And even I saw many doctors and many scientists say that all human beings are born bisexual, and then with your life trajectory and what happens in your life, you just go more towards one. I never did anything gay. I was never attracted to any man. But they explain that every single human being is born bisexual. And like I said, homosexuality has existed ever since human beings exist. And even amongst animals, that exists. So I feel like that's a normal part about nature. That's a normal thing about nature. Homosexuals and bisexuality always existed. And I'm not the type of Christian to say, oh, gay people are the devil. Gay people are going to hell. Like, bro, I'm a humanist before I'm a Christian or whatever. Like, I'm not dumb. I know how it is. I mean, gay people who prefer having sex with guys, I mean, they're allowed to do whatever they want. It's a free country. They can sleep with whoever they want, just as long as that person is above the age of 18. I think the age of consent is 18. Maybe it's 16 in Canada. I'm not sure. But as long as that person is above the age of consent, hey, have fun, guys. Like, I don't care. I don't know why some people are so homophobic. I never really understood it. Even though I say many jokes about, oh, that's gay. We all know when you joke about something being gay, it has nothing to do with the actual sexual orientation. It's two completely different things. But when we talk about real homosexuality, I never understood why people were homophobic. Maybe some people are homophobic because they're afraid that maybe deep down they're the ones who are homosexual. I don't know. I was never homophobic in my life, and I'm never going to be homophobic because at the end of the day, like, I don't really care who sleeps with who, just as long as it's legal and consensual and that both parties are above the age of consent. If everything's legal, hey, have fun. It's a free country. Sleep with whoever you want. Do whatever you want, man. Just as long as it's legal. So that's why I disagree as a Christian, as a big Christian. I disagree 100% with what Bryce Crawford said. 100% I disagree. And even Pope Francis, before he died, he was a really big progressive Pope. He was really progressive. And even before, you know how the Catholic Church is when it comes to homosexuality, they're all against it. But Pope Francis is the one who, I think now homosexuality is seen as okay amongst the Catholic Church, but he's the one who brought it. He's the one who innovated the Catholic Church when it came to homosexuality. And that's why Pope Francis, in my opinion, is the greatest Pope to ever exist. And he was really progressive, and he understood that, yes, Catholicism is to be respected, but so is humanity. And Catholicism, as much as we want to respect God and believe in God, we have to understand the basic human nature and to just be humans, right? The Bible, which is really sacred and is filled with many, many beautiful stories. At the end of the day, it's a book written by normal human beings. And this is coming from me, a big Christian. I'm not a Catholic, I'm a Protestant, but I'm still a big Christian. But I understand that the Bible didn't come from heaven, didn't come on a silver platter from heaven. It didn't hover in the sky and then fall on Jesus' hands. It's a book written throughout centuries by many, many different people who aren't perfect. Those people aren't perfect. They had their flaws. And just because 2,000 years ago, some guy wrote that in the Bible that being gay isn't okay, doesn't mean that it's true. We all know now in 2025, there's nothing wrong to being bisexual, being gay, or being part of the LGBTQ community. There's nothing wrong there. And it's actually really natural. Now, when it comes to transgenderism, I don't know enough. You know, transgenderism is more something new. It's something that is more new now than someone who's gay or bisexual. I don't know enough on it to comment on it. I mean, it's his body, his choice, her body, her choice, I guess. So, I mean, I don't know enough on it to have to have a big stance and a big opinion when it comes to transgenders. But hey, how I always saw it is, it's her life, it's his life. Let him live his life how he wants. As long as he doesn't do anything illegal, do whatever you want, bro. It's your life. That's how I always saw it. Okay, so guys, not recently, maybe a couple of years ago, 2-3 years ago, Jordan Peterson said that he's opposing Canada's Bill C-16 and refusing to use gender-neutral pronouns. For people who don't know what Bill C-16 is, it's a bill that Canada passed. Actually, let me ChatGPT it so I can explain it to you guys like perfectly. What is the Bill C-16 in Canada? It's a bill regarding pronouns and using their correct pronouns or the gender neutral pronouns in Canada or whatever. Bill C-16 is a Canadian federal law passed in 2017 that expanded protections for transgender and gender diverse individuals under both human rights and criminal law. Here's a clear breakdown. Full title: An Act to amend the Canadian Human Rights Act and the Criminal Code, commonly referred to as Bill C-16. It was introduced in May 2016 and became law with royal assent on June 19, 2017, taking immediate effect. Key amendments. Canadian Human Rights Act adds gender identity or expression as prohibited grounds on discrimination alongside race, sex, religion, etc. This safeguards individuals from discrimination in federally regulated sectors like federal government services, aviation, broadcasting, banks, and telecommunication companies. Criminal code updates includes gender identity or expression in the identity of identifiable group for hate propaganda offenses, adds bias or hatred against someone based on their gender identity or expression as an aggravating factor during sentencing. Significance and broader impact. Landmark Protection Bill C-16 formally recognizes transgender and gender diverse Canadians as deserving of protection under federal human rights law. Combat discrimination and hate crimes. Makes discriminatory acts and hate propaganda targeting gender identity or expression illegal and subject to enhanced penalties. So, what Jordan Peterson opposed that bill, it was more for when it came to pronouns. In my opinion, just like Jordan Peterson, in my opinion, only two pronouns exist. He, him, and she, her. I mean, I hate to say it, in my opinion, you don't choose your pronouns. You're born with the pronouns that you're born with. If you're born a guy, like I said, you can do whatever you want with your body, your choice. But in my opinion, if you're born a guy, you're a guy for the rest of your life. You're a male for the rest of your life. Like, yes, you can modify your body. If I can put it nicely like that, you can modify your body. But at the end of the day, in my opinion, I'm always going to see you like a guy. I'm always going to see you like a guy. If you're born a guy, I'm always going to see you like a guy. Same goes for if you're born like a woman. If you're born as a woman, you're always going to be a woman, a girl, a female, whatever. And you're always going to be a she, her. In my opinion, I always thought there were only two pronouns, he, him, and she, her. I always saw it like that. Now, of course, some people who are born males, they can, maybe them deep down, they can identify as females. But in my mind, you guys are always going to be males. Now, you cannot decide how I see things in my mind. You don't have control over my mind and my thoughts. Only I have control over my mind and my thoughts and my opinions and whatever. And it's a free country. It's a democratic country, Canada. I'm allowed to think what I want to think, and I'm allowed to say what I want to say and to express myself as long as I'm not expressing myself in an illegal way, meaning as long as I'm not threatening someone with violence, then it's not illegal. So as long as I'm not doing anything illegal, I don't care. If you're born a male, in my mind, you're always going to be a male, and you're always going to be a he, him. If you're born a female, you're born a she, her, and you're always going to be a she, her. Now, if someone, like, if I'm being honest, if a guy tells me, you know what, call me she, her, and he really, really, really insists on it, and like, if I remember, then I'm gonna call her she, her, just so I don't cause any trouble. And like, deep down, I don't really give a fuck. If you want to be a she, her, I'll call you a she, her. But if I forget and I call you a he, him, because when I see your face and when I see you, and I'm trying to say something and just I'm not thinking about it, and then my first reaction is to call you a he, him, you cannot get mad, bro. I mean, broski, come on. I mean, Jesus Christ, be fair. Like, you know what I mean? When we fucking look at you, we see a man. You know what I mean? So that's why with Jordan Peterson, I agree. I feel like there's only two genders. I always said it many times on my podcast. There's only male or female, in my opinion. That's how I see the world. And in consequence to me only believing that there's only male and female, I only believe in the he, him, and the she, her pronouns. It is what it is, guys. That's my way of seeing life, and that's Jordan Peterson's way of seeing life. Okay, so guys, again, Tucker Carlson, and it's another quote from Tucker Carlson, and I'm quoting him word for word right now. And he said, white supremacy is a hoax. I already right there, I disagree 100%. White supremacy is as bad as any terrorist group. It is a terrorist group, and it's a real problem in the Western world, white supremacists. They do really exist. They are terrorists, and it's a real problem that we have in the Western world right now, especially more in America, but also the Western world in general. And then Tucker Carlson said on Fox News that white supremacy was not a real problem in America. I'm quoting him. He said, quote unquote, not a real problem in America, and called it a hoax created by Democrats. So guys, like I said, I consider myself in the middle. So for this take, he's out of his mind. White supremacy is a real problem in the Western world, and more specifically, America. White supremacists like the KKK, the Proud Boys, and many other groups who are white supremacists, let's just say it how it is. They are a terrorist group. They are. It's a fucking fact. They're a terrorist group. And they do exist. It's not a hoax created by Democrats. It's a real problem that America has. And Tucker Carlson, as much as sometimes I agree with what you said, with what you say, but for this, I don't agree, man. I disagree 100% because white supremacy is a real problem in the Western world, and especially America, man. There's a lot of KKK members in America. The Proud Boys is also a different white supremacy group, but it is a real problem in America. So guys, Nick Fuentes, for those who don't know who Nick Fuentes is, he's young, he's like 26, 27, he's close to my age, but he's a real white racist, white supremacist, and he's a sexist and a homophobe. I'm not saying Andrew Tate is like, he always pushed the line between being racist, homophobic, and sexist, but Nick Fuentes is a real one. Even Andrew Tate, some people can say that he is sexist, and some people can say that he's only joking and fucking around, and he actually isn't. But we're not talking about Andrew Tate right now. I'm talking about Nick Fuentes. And from what I saw, he's a real racist, a real sexist, and a real homophobe. Like a real top A, triple A class, real one. And he got banned from all major platforms like YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. And I think he's only live on Rumble. Rumble is like not off-brand, it's like the Wish version of YouTube. It's small. No one really has Rumble. No one really goes on Rumble. I mean, I downloaded Rumble only for content purposes, so I can watch Andrew Tate and Nick Fuentes who are only live on Rumble. Like Andrew Tate, he's banned from YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok also, major platforms, and Facebook also. But he is allowed on Rumble. And that's why I have Rumble, so I can go on Rumble and see what Andrew Tate says so that I get inspired for my own podcasts and my own episodes. But Nick Fuentes, to get back to Nick Fuentes, he got banned from all major platforms. He's only live on Rumble. And I watched some of his episodes, man. I think his podcast is named America First. I think that's the name of his podcast. Bro, I understand why he got banned. When it came to Andrew Tate, I was like, 50-50, you know what? Freedom of speech, yeah. But maybe he pushed it a little bit, and maybe he did actually human traffic women and whatever. I never really got that much deep into it. But for Andrew Tate, I was like 50-50. Should he get banned from social media platforms? I don't think so, but hey, he's banned. But he is also on Twitter, on X. But for Nick Fuentes, bro, that's a real white supremacist, a real homophobe, and a real sexist. And I have proofs to back my claims. So guys, once Nick Fuentes, firstly, he denied that the Holocaust ever happened. For anyone who denies the Holocaust, you guys are fucking mentally unstable. You're mentally insane, because the Holocaust clearly happened. I mean, Jesus Christ, how many Jews died during Second World War? And it's documented across all countries, across the entire world is documented. Everyone knows that the Holocaust actually happened and actually existed in the past. That actually happened. Firstly, he denies. Like I said, Nick Fuentes not only is a real racist, sexist, and homophobe, he's also a big anti-Semite, which all white supremacists are. They all hate they all hate Jews, and they're all anti-Semites. And he also repeatedly questioned or mocked the Holocaust. And once he compared Jews killed in gas chambers to cookies in an oven. That's just crazy. I mean, that's so sad what happened during the Holocaust. So many people died, so many kids, so many innocent civilians died for no reason. It was really, really sad. It was a genocide made upon Jews, the Holocaust. And he's laughing and comparing it to cookies in an oven. Crazy, man. These remarks led him to be banned from mainstream platforms like YouTube and Instagram, which I understand. I mean, Jesus fucking Christ, that's crazy, man. To say that, to have not even the balls, I mean, you're just dumb. Like, just the fact that you say it in front of a camera and you're being serious, I mean, that's crazy, bro. You need to seek mental help, man. And also, Nick Fuentes often advocates for the end of women's rights. That's fucking crazy. I mean, Andrew Tate, from what I saw, sometimes he jokes. Maybe he's serious. I don't know him personally, but I feel like he's joking when he says women shouldn't drive, women shouldn't be allowed to drive, whatever. If he's serious, then I'm against it. I feel like he's saying it because in general, men drive better than women. Hey, I'm not being sexist, like I'm being fair. In general, men do drive better than women, but women should always have the right to drive. I mean, that's like a basic right. I mean, I don't know how that could even come up for debate. But Nick Fuentes is serious, and he often advocated for the end of women's rights. Fuentes has suggested even that women shouldn't have the right to vote. Fucking crazy. Shouldn't have the right to hold office in political settings, and should return to traditional domestic roles. This is just a class A sexist. I mean, this is just crazy, bro. He even celebrated the idea of repealing women's suffrage as a goal for America First. Like I said, America First is the name of his podcast. But like I said, bro, from everything that I read on Nick Fuentes, everything that I saw, every podcast that I saw from him talking, whenever I heard his takes and whatever, guys, my end conclusion of Nick Fuentes is he's a real fucking racist, a real sexist, a real homophobe, and a real anti-Semite. And I understand him being banned from social media platforms. Now, is it still considered freedom of speech? I guess it is, because he's not behind bars. I mean, you cannot persecute him for having racist thoughts or having sexist thoughts or whatever. Freedom of speech does exist. But those are just crazy takes from him, man. Okay, so guys, let's end this episode with 6 motivational quotes and 6 Bible verses to end this episode on a good note. So the first quote is from Nelson Mandela, and he said, "It always seems impossible until it's done." That's so true, man. Whenever someone chases his dreams, like, you cannot see the end goal, but it always seems impossible. But that person always has a little voice inside of his head saying, who cares? Keep going. Trust your gut. Trust your intuition, because somehow, somewhere, someday, it's going to happen. And people who never give up, they make it happen. Even though in the beginning it seemed like impossible, at the end, when it's done, we realize that it was never impossible. Next quote is from Winston Churchill. He says, "Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts." Like everyone always says, it's all about persistence. It's all about consistency. It's all about never giving up. Never, ever give up. No matter what happens, no matter what failures you face or rejection you face, never give up. Because success, and even when you reach success, it's not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. Next quote is from Sam Levinson, and he said, "Don't watch the clock. Do what it does. Keep going." In life, whenever something bad happens, we tend to cocoon ourselves and just like stop pushing in life and stop chasing our dreams. That's not what we should do. We should still keep going and never give up. Next quote is from Eleanor Roosevelt. She was the wife of former President Theodore Roosevelt. And she said, "The future belongs to those who who believe in the beauty of their dreams. The bigger your dreams, the more effort you have to put in, the more you have to sacrifice, and the more you have to fail and to take L's in lives. But if you can believe in the beauty of your dreams, the future is yours, man. Next quote is from Theodore Roosevelt, and he said, "Do what you can with what you have where you are." How I see life is whenever I wake up, today, how can I have the best and most productive day with where I am and with what I have? Today, so I live day by day. Of course, I have like an end goal. I know towards where I'm going. But at the end of the day, it's all about living day by day and going step by step. So whenever I wake up, I know, okay, how can I have the most successful day today with where I am and with what I have? I do my best, and the next day, again, I do my best. And every single day, I try to be a little bit better than what I was yesterday. And then you add that up with months and years and decades, you're fucking miles ahead of where you were in the beginning. Next and last quote is from C.S. Lewis, and he said, "Hardships often prepare ordinary people for an extraordinary destiny." That's a fact, man. The more hardship someone faces, the more extraordinary destiny he will have. The more you fail, the more success you'll have. Your success is proportionate with the amount of failures you have. That's a fact. If you don't want to take my word for it, everyone who's successful, they all say it. Your success, the level of success you have, is proportionate with the level of failures that you face in your life. That's a fact. Okay, so guys, 6 more Bible verses to end this episode. Micah 6:8. "He has shown you, O man, what is good. And what does the Lord require of you? To act justly and to leave mercy and to walk humbly with your God." We all know what the good thing to do is. We all know what the good thing to do is. We all know what it is. We just have to walk humbly and do it and leave mercy and to walk humbly with our God. Ecclesiastes 3:1. "To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven." Everything happens for a reason. It is what it is. I mean, like I said, the Bible was written by humans, but it was written throughout centuries. And I feel like the Bible has many beautiful verses that can help you personally in your personal development or just in your life in general. Next verse actually, Matthew 16:26. "For what will it profit a man if he gains the whole world and forfeits his soul? Or what shall a man give in return for his soul?" In my opinion, no matter what you want in life, never sell your soul and always look to fulfill your soul's destiny. Not your ego, but to fulfill your soul, because your soul is what actually matters in your life. That's what actually matters. And that's what will actually bring you fulfillment, joy, and happiness in your life. Romans 12:2. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. I agree 100%, and I don't have anything to add. It's just perfect. James 1:19. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. I agree 100%, man. And I feel like I said, I don't always practice what I preach. I feel like all human beings, we're slow to listen, we're quick to speak, and we're quick to become angry. But it should actually be the opposite. We should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. But since we all cave to the pressure of our ego, and that's what causes us to be slow to listen to others, quick to speak, and quick to become angry. But if you're capable of calming down your ego and shutting off your ego and listening to your soul and your intuition, you will become quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. Last Bible verse for this reality check. Matthew 5:44. But I say to you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. So like I said in the beginning of the episode, of course, it's easy to hate on someone who hates on you. It's easy to hate him because you're like, you know what? Fuck that person. He hates me. He keeps bringing me down. He keeps wishing the worst upon me. I fucking hate that person. That's like the normal logical response to have, right? But actually, the good response to have and the best response to have is to actually love that person and pray for him. Because only people who have bad inside of them can do bad to others. Those are the only people who can cause harm to others. It's people who deep down don't feel good about themselves. If someone feels good about himself and loves this life and is happy with what he has and is content with his life, he'll never be mean towards others and he'll never try to bring others down. He'll actually do the opposite. He'll try to bring you up and to motivate you and to just cheer you on. That's what people who are mentally happy, who feel good in their skin, and who feel good in their fucking skin. That's what they do. But people who have hate inside, those are the ones who export hate onto the world and onto other people. So guys, like the quote, like the verse says, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. So guys, that was it for this reality check. See you next episode. Peace out.